Tyler from Aspire Sports, and in today's video, I'm with Gigs here, and we're going to do a mock draft, rounds 1 through 3. We're going to go kind of like pick-by-pick analysis. This is a 12-team, half-point PPR snake draft. So we're going to do the first 3 rounds. That way it's a shorter video. Then next video, we'll do rounds 4 through 6, but we'll talk about each draft pick. So you want to say hi, Gigs?
What's up, everyone? Glad to be back, and I'm excited for this mock. So let's do this.
Yes, football season's very close. We're getting so close. So mock season is underway, and it will really pick up in August. So hopefully you'll get some good tips from this video. What to not do, what to do from some of these computer players. We'll talk about it. But so we've done this a couple times, and sometimes a lot of the time it's Christian McCaffrey at number 1, but sometimes they go like Derrick Henry. So we're going to give them the first pick here and hope for the best after this. So Christian McCaffrey, we feel like Christian McCaffrey is the number 1 player off the board. Maybe Dalvin Cook can make a case for him, but I think Christian McCaffrey should be the first player off the board. So from here on out, we'll let the computers make the pick. So let's see who we got here. All right, Dalvin Cook, looking pretty solid so far.
Yeah, this looks good.
All right, next one here. Saquon. I probably wouldn't go Saquon here, but maybe this player. One thing you got to watch out for Saquon is he even said himself he wasn't quite sure if he'd be ready for week 1. He said he's going to try his best. Like, to me, when a player says something like that, it's kind of concerning. So you really need to keep an eye out this preseason to make sure Saquon's fully set to go week 1. I also do think that they're going to kind of ease him back into it a little bit the first couple of weeks. So how do you feel about Saquon? Are you going Saquon at 3 at all?
It's just a little too risky for me. If I could just turn injuries off, yeah, I'd have Saquon Barkley at 3. But it's just a little too risky. It's really rolling the dice saying he's going to be healthy and ready on time when the season starts.
I agree. All right, go ahead and make your pick. I know who you're going to take, though.
Oh, yeah? Well, if this thing would just let me take him.
Is it not letting you?
And give me Alvin Kamara. I think Kamara is my guy here.
I figured. So not Derrick Henry? Why Alvin Kamara?
So I'm taking him because of the fact that it's half PPR. I think if this was a standard league, I'd go Henry over him, but he's proven that he can get 70, 80 receptions in a season, and I think that's the difference maker with him. I know there's no Breeze this year. Maybe he doesn't get as much volume, but I think they're going to have to lean on him and Michael Thomas a lot. So I like Alvin here at 4 overall.
I agree with that. I would take him. He would be the 3rd running back off the board for me. I would go him number 3. Get him at number 4. So Derrick Henry should probably be the next player taken. Jonathan Taylor. So a couple surprises so far. Would you take Jonathan Taylor over Derrick Henry in half point?
For half point, man, it's kind of a toss-up here. I think Derrick Henry is a safer pick, but I do think Jonathan Taylor has more upside, as crazy as that sounds.
No, I agree. Just because his receiving ability. Derrick Henry has been super consistent for the past couple of years, past 3 years. So, I mean, I get it, but I do think Jonathan Taylor, number 1, is a sexier name, and number 2, he has that receiving potential that Derrick Henry does not have. So that could definitely vault him inside, like possibly even be RB number 1. He's able to get those rushing yards. Let's see who we got next. It should be Derrick Henry. Okay. Derrick Henry, I do think that's pretty good value there at pick number 6. I mean, I think that he's probably going to be a top 5 number pick, but if you're getting him at number 6, that's pretty solid. Let's see who goes next. Oh, Zeke. Damn it. I was hoping he'd get to me. All right. I mean, I already made a video on this. I think Zeke for me I know Zeke for me top 5 back. Last year was disappointing, sure, but he still finishes a top 10 back without Dak and everything that happened. So for me, he's still a top 5 guy. How do you feel about Zeke this upcoming season?
I like him. I think he's going to do much better than he did last year. I think one of the big things is that O-line's not as dominant as it was earlier in his career, but he played way better with Dak Prescott healthy. So if Dak stays healthy, even with an offensive line that's not as good as it used to be, I agree that Zeke should be, a top 6, top 7 running back for sure.
Let's see who goes next. Ooh, Nick Chubb. Now I really have to make a decision here. Ah, boy. Ah, boy. Well, if we're going based upon my rankings here, I'm pulling the trigger on Cam Akers, baby. Hey, listen, you guys already know here at Aspire Sports that I'm huge on Cam Akers this upcoming season. Now, definitely there is some risk, but Sean McVay's come out and said that he's a 3-down back, and a running back in Sean McVay's system will finish as a top 10 back in fantasy football. Todd Gurley finishes RB number 1 2 years in a row. I think Cam Akers has top 5 potential as long as he's the guy, and I believe that he will be the guy this upcoming season. So for me, it's between him and Najee Harris. I would like one of those two. If I knew Aaron Rodgers was playing, I'd go Aaron Jones here, but getting a little nervous here. So let's see who goes next. And first
Wow.
wide receiver off the board, huh? DeAndre Hopkins. I have him as wide receiver number 5. There's definitely 3 wide receivers I would take over him for sure. The 4th one, maybe I consider going back and forth, but any chance you take him at number 1?
No.
No.
I would not take DeAndre Hopkins here. I mean, maybe this guy just got done watching that video of him against the Bills catching that Hail Mary. I don't know. I would not take him here.
No, I agree. Let's see if he can. Okay, there we go. Tyreek Hill. Damn, that's really solid there. The second wide receiver for me, wide receiver number 1 on my draft board. Tyreek Hill, pick number 11. Let's see who goes 12. Devontae Adams, pretty solid. And then Travis Kelce. Like we talked about this in a previous video, like Travis Kelce, if you want one of the top tight ends, I mean, you're not going to get one. At least you shouldn't get one on the way back here, like in the 3rd round. So if you want one of the top 3 tight ends, this is your chance to pull the trigger now. Travis Kelce, honestly, is 2nd round. I don't mind that. I mean, it's the turn, so it's not. I'd rather get him in like the middle of the 2nd round, but I don't think he'll be there, obviously. But Travis Kelce, if you want one of the top 3 tight ends, especially if you have one of these later picks, you got to pull the trigger early. So, how do you feel about Travis Kelce?
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be there on the way back. It makes no difference whether you take him 12 or 13 here. So I get it. There's people who really like the tight end position, especially in head-to-head. But for me, I just wouldn't do it. I would rather roll the dice and hope that Kittle or Waller falls to me. I know that doesn't look too good either because we've done a couple of these mock drafts now, and Kittle and Waller, they both don't make it back. But I'm with you. I think I would wait to get Kelce, mid to late 2nd round if he were to fall that far.
Agreed. And I just don't like the biggest thing with taking Kelce that early, like the years with Gronk when he was going like the 1st round. I just don't like my roster construction at that point. I don't like how my team looks. You're just missing running back talent here, wide receiver talent. So that's the biggest thing why I don't like going tight end early. But I would agree with you. Like, I'll roll the dice. Hopefully one of those tight ends, they're most likely not going to get here on the way back, but I'd roll the dice on that. Austin Ekeler here. I don't mind it. I'm becoming more and more of a fan of Austin Ekeler this early, but there's still a running back that I would much rather take over him. And I would take Stephon Diggs over him personally. Definitely 2 guys I would. Let's see who we got next. Aaron Jones. Who would you take first, Aaron Jones or Austin Ekeler?
I would take Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
He's proven he's a stud. I mean, with Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones climbs even higher for me, but I already have Aaron Jones as RB9. I mean, it's not far off from Eckler, who I have as RB11. And for PPR, maybe I'd take Eckler over Jones. But for standard, hands down, I'm taking Aaron Jones. Half PPR, I'm still leaning towards Aaron Jones. I haven't seen Eckler play a full season yet. And I know, again, he gets a ton of receptions, but he's not a great runner between the tackles, or at least he hasn't proven it, where I know that Jones is. And Jones finds the end zone. So I would just feel much more confident taking Aaron Jones over Austin Eckler.
I agree with that. And this makes my job easy. I would Stephon Diggs really here isn't bad, but I like running backs early, and I'm going Najee Harris. So I got two running backs I really like with the first two picks here. Najee Harris. I love Najee Harris. He's a top 10 back for me this upcoming season. He's going to see a ton of volume in that Pittsburgh's offense. I don't care if people think that Pittsburgh's going to be bad. It doesn't matter to me. We already saw last year James Robinson plays on the worst team in the NFL, is still a top 10 back. So I think Najee Harris can easily be a top 10 back on this offense this upcoming season. This is the perfect spot for him to land, was in Pittsburgh. Like, he's going to see so much volume. So let's see who goes next. Joe Mixon, baby. Ooh.
These mocks love him.
They do, and man, there's a wide receiver that's fallen here. He's fallen. Whoever's gonna
oh my,
he's still going. Oh my gosh.
There's no way he gets to me, right?
I don't know. Oh my gosh, we're getting closer. We'll talk about these picks here in a minute, but oh, that's disappointing, I'm sure.
Damn.
That's a really good pick there. I mean, if he falls that late in your draft, that is crazy. Like I really, it was between, for me, him and Najee Harris there, but once again, I love running backs. If I'm the next person in the draft, though, I would have gone Diggs right here. This is where I would have went. So let's talk about these picks real quick here. So Joe Mixon, are you going him this early right here?
Personally, no. I have Joe Mixon as my RB16, which is a little bit lower than most people have him. He's just someone who hasn't proven it to me. I know when healthy, he has the talent, and this is going to be a year without Bernard, but I still just need to see it before I'm going to invest in Joe Mixon, especially if he was going to be my RB1. So, like, if that team didn't have Nick Chubb already and they went Joe Mixon as an RB1, that's a little scary to me. But Nick Chubb and Mixon together, I mean, that's pretty good. I don't mind it. But I just think I definitely would want Najee Harris over him. I have a couple other guys I take over him. So it's not bad, but it's not great.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And I mean, really, DK, I wouldn't take him there. I'd rather have definitely Stephon Diggs over him. And then also, I mean, me personally, I want Calvin Ridley over Metcalf. I don't like that pick. Especially with Diggs there. Like, absolutely would have taken Diggs there. And then Antonio Gibson, how do you feel about that pick? I mean, would you have gone Stephon Diggs over him as well?
Probably. Diggs, I think he slid way too far.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen him in mocks go in the first round. So
yeah,
for him to get what was that pick? What was that, like 19?
Yeah,
he fall all the way to 19 or 20. Yeah, that to me is the steal of the draft so far. So I probably would have gone Diggs over Mixon, Metcalf, and Gibson.
Agreed. So your pick, it won't let you, right?
We're gonna see. Come on, give him to me. No, it won't let me. But go ahead and give me Calvin Ridley. I'm gonna switch it up here. I'm a big fan of going 3 running backs this year, but I think Calvin Ridley, he's my number 4, number 5 wide receiver off the board. It's really a toss up with him and Hopkins for me right now, but he should be a stud this year. I'm not concerned with Julio being gone. Everyone's saying that everyone's going to focus on Calvin Ridley. There's no number 2 guy to make his life easy, but Kyle Pitts is there, and I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a beast. So it's not like everyone can just hone into Calvin Ridley. I think, easily top 5 wide receiver this year.
I agree. I love Calvin Ridley. He's wide receiver number 4 for me, so I think that's a really solid pick. I'm not worried at all that Julio's not there. He did it last year with Julio really not playing much, so he can definitely do it. Let's see who's next. We got AJ Brown. Not bad. A pretty solid pick there. Me personally, there's a wide receiver I like over him. As you can tell in this video, I'll link it right here. My top 12 wide receivers. But if you like AJ Brown, hey, I'm not going to fight you. That's fine. It's pretty good so far. It's decent so far. Oh no, Giggs is sad.
No way! You gotta be kidding me.
There goes JK. I think that's like the first time we've seen him go in the second round. I don't think I've seen him go in the second round so far. All right.
I have Dobbins as RB10, everyone. So that's why that really pisses me off. I wanted to take him instead of Calvin Ridley, but I wanted to be different and take a wide receiver this time. And this is what happens. Pie in the face.
So why don't you tell everybody why you like him as RB number 10?
For sure. So for half PPR, I know people are a little concerned with him sharing the backfield with Gus Edwards, but Ingram's gone, and he proved that he could do it last year, averaging 6 yards per carry, almost having 1,000 rushing yards, almost having 10 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he had like 900 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns. So with a full season, and if he's the bell cow for him, I don't see why Dobbins couldn't finish in the top 5 for running backs. It's a run-heavy offense. I think he's an absolute stud. They have a great O-line. So Dobbins for me is someone who's climbing the boards very quickly, and I would not be surprised, definitely think he can finish top 10. But even if he was top 7, top 6, top 5, I really wouldn't be that surprised at running back this year. Very bullish.
I'm not as high on him as you are, but like I said before, Mark Ingram, I believe, was RB number 9 the 1 year he was in there, and that was only on like 220 touches. So J.K. Dobbins can certainly easily be a top 10 back in that offense. Like you said, it's a run-first team, and he was very good around the goal line last season, so he can definitely break 10 touchdowns for sure. So let's see who goes here. Next pick. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Oh, man.
Okay, the computer's not doing so bad. I thought for sure a quarterback would go, but I do like that pick. I love CEH this year. You're no longer paying that top 6 pick where you were towards the end of the draft season last year. I think this is good value. He plays on the league's best offense. They upgraded the offensive line this season. There's no Damian Williams. He's going to be the guy in this backfield. So they drafted him first overall, and Andy Reid compared him to Brian Westbrook, right? So high praise for somebody that right now I just think is incredible value for where you're getting. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. I have him and Dobbins as like 2 guys who sliding into the 3rd round. I know he went here in the 2nd, but I mean, with that pick, him being first overall, his 2nd and 3rd round pick, they're basically the same. But yeah, I mean, CEH in the 3rd round, if you can get him, if he's your 2nd running back, you should be very excited this year.
I agree. And so far, these 2 teams are looking pretty good. There goes George Kittle. I don't mind him in the 3rd round. I mean, I'd rather have him towards the end of the 3rd round, but hey, you're not going to get him on the way back, so it is what it is. I'd probably go a wide receiver and get a tight end in the middle rounds, but hey, this is fine as well. You're getting one of the top tight ends in the NFL in fantasy football, so you already have a really solid start with 2 really good running backs, so that's pretty solid there. And there we go. There he goes. Patrick Mahomes. I'm surprised he lasted this long, honestly. So good job, computer. Now we're doing so well, team number 2. No, I don't like this pick. I know that he's going in the 3rd round. Some people might say, wow, that's pretty good. No, I'd rather take him in, like, honestly, the 4th or 5th round. I don't like taking quarterbacks that early. I still think you have Justin Jefferson, Michael Thomas still sitting there. Like, I would much rather go one of those guys than Patrick Mahomes at this range. I'd even take Chris Carson over him. Like, I'd rather go a running back over Patrick Mahomes and get like Lamar Jackson or somebody later in the draft. So, me personally don't like this pick. You like this pick?
No, I'm not a fan of it. I think people I mean, I was doing a Yahoo mock draft and I was looking at ADP, and Patrick Mahomes is like 13.4.
Yeah,
And I'm
right.
like, why the hell is anyone taking a quarterback this high? Because Dak Prescott last year, before he got hurt, he looked like he could have an MVP season. Aaron Rodgers threw like 40 plus touchdowns. Josh Allen finished with the most points at quarterback. So I rather just sit and wait and grab a quarterback later, like you said, instead of taking a quarterback early and missing out on a really solid RB1, RB2, or a really solid wide receiver 1 or 2. So I'm not a fan of the pick either, although the first 2 picks are sexy.
No, these two guys were doing a very good job. I don't mind George Kittle. I definitely like George Kittle a lot more than Patrick Mahomes. Let's see who we got. Justin Jefferson, pretty solid pick as well. Me personally, he's a little bit lower on my rankings, but still, I mean, it's interchangeable a little bit there. It's whoever you like more. Justin Jefferson, that's pretty good, solid 1 and 2 there with Saquon. Rather see Kamara there, but hey, that's pretty solid looking team so far. And Giggs is on the clock.
All right. I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here. And let's see if it gives it to me. Go ahead and give me DeAndre Swift.
All right.
Yeah.
And he's a Lions fan. That's why he's saying he's a homer. But go ahead, explain why you like DeAndre Swift.
So I do think there's upside with Swift because he's very good at catching the ball. If this was a standard league, there's no way I'm taking him here. But they have a revamped offensive line. It looks pretty good. I'm not concerned with them playing behind and then Swift not being used. Although they have came out and said that they want to go committee. He's not necessarily going to be their 3-down back. I think it's going to be kind of like last year where he eventually proves that, hey, you guys should probably just give me the ball 20 times a game. But I don't want to be left without a running back here. I don't want to roll the dice and be left with like a Josh Jacobs, Kareem Hunt, or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take Swift here and hope that I can get another good wide receiver later. Because I'm used to going 3 RBs in a row. So I'm taking Swift here. It was tough. I was thinking Chris Carson, but I do think DeAndre Swift has just as good upside as Chris Carson, maybe a little bit better.
I agree. I'd probably go Chris Carson, but I am coming around to DeAndre Swift. I do think that he's getting lower and lower. For some people, a lot of hate. I do think Detroit's going to be awful, though. But you do have Calvin Ridley there, like you said. So you have a really solid, bona fide number. So I think that you'll easily be able to get a wide receiver on the way back. Much easier than running back. I agree with you there. All right, Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson goes next. A couple more guys I like more than Allen Robinson, but still Allen Robinson. I think he's a top 10 wide receiver this upcoming season, but this pretty good solid wide receiver, 1 and 2 there. I'd personally go running back here, but hey, if you want to go wide receiver, you think that you can get a solid running back in the round, then go for it. Let's see who we got next. Terry McLaurin, and this is kind of where he went last. And I said this last draft as well. I'm not as big on Terry McLaurin as other people are, especially like if you look at it here, and this is kind of what I said last time. Like Terry McLaurin, I feel like at best is going to be like a wide receiver number 12, like a top back end wide receiver number 1. I think that's at best. This is an offense that I don't think they're going to put the ball in Ryan Fitzpatrick's hands a lot and try to win him the game. Like this is a conservative offense. Ryan Fitzpatrick has thrown interceptions, a bunch of interceptions in the past. I don't think they want him to do that. They want him to game manage as best he can. If you, from a pure roster construction, if you go Terry McLaurin here, I just don't see that big of a drop off from Terry McLaurin to say like somebody that you're going to get in the next round, possibly CeeDee Lamb, Robert Woods, DJ Moore, even like a guy like Adam Thielen, Cooper Kupp, like you could get here. I just don't see a big enough drop off from Terry McLaurin to those other guys, as you'll probably see in Chris Carson to say Kareem Hunt or Travis Etienne, depending on how these next running backs go. So from a pure roster construction, I'd rather just wait and take a solid, rock solid, especially because he's gone 3 running backs. Like you would have such good running backs if you go Derrick Henry, Antonio Gibson, and then say Chris Carson. Like that would be sexy. But I'd rather even take Michael Thomas over Terry McLaurin at this point as well. Like much rather so. How do you feel about Terry McLaurin?
Yeah, a little bit higher than I'd want him. I don't think it's a terrible pick because he's probably in the mix with 3 or 4 other players that I would take here. Um, Having 2 running backs already, I can understand why someone would want to go wide receiver. That being said, Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, those guys being available, I would have a tough time taking Terry McLaurin over those 2. And I'd have a tough time just owning 2 guys from the Washington football team as my first 3
True.
picks. I mean, I know they're not a bad team. They looked pretty good last year. They're up and coming, but I don't know if that's where I'd put my faith in fantasy.
No, agreed. I'd much rather go Michael Thomas there. Or even Darren Waller. Go Darren Waller if you want. I'd rather go Michael Thomas, but here we go, Darren Waller. Pretty solid looking team so far. Once again, I'd rather. I don't think that's bad for Darren Waller. Honestly, it's still a little bit too rich for my blood. I would rather just. I'll probably be the last person to take a tight end unless I can get Hawkinson at a pretty good value. I love Hawkinson this upcoming season. But that's fine. Let's see who we got next, baby. No! I was hoping to get him.
You almost got him.
Damn it. I love that pick. I think that's honestly one of the best picks of the draft so far. I think he's honestly, like we talked about this last time. He's somebody who could easily finish as wide receiver number 1, and I would not be surprised. This is an offense that they're going to get him the ball early and often as long as he's healthy. Like his first 4 seasons in the NFL. I forget what year he's in now. I don't know if it's his 5th or whatever. But he didn't finish lower than number 7 besides last year. So this is a guy that if he plays all season, he's going to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFL and in terms of fantasy football. So great pick there, team
8.
All right, I'm going to go. I want to go Keenan Allen.
Take a running back. I know you want to do it.
I'm going Chris Carson. I'll go running back early. 3 running backs. This is usually how I do it every single year, guys. I go like 3 running backs because I know that I can get pretty solid wide receivers. But 3 running backs. I love Chris Carson this upcoming season. They got rid of Darrell Bevell. This Pete Carroll came out, said that he wants this team to be better at running the football, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to let Russ cook. I still think that they're going to let Russ cook, but they want to be better at running the football. Chris Carson is one of those guys that's constantly undervalued in fantasy football. He always finishes right around like RB number 15, higher than that. So I love Chris Carson at this range. Let's see who we got next. And Keenan Allen, pretty solid pick. Agreed.
Yeah,
I love
that. That's
pretty good.
That's a good spot to get him.
Yes. Team's looking pretty solid. See who we got next. And David Montgomery. There he goes. I'd rather go Miles Sanders personally. I would even go Mike Evans over him. But if you want to go running back, I'd rather go Miles Sanders. But he's right there, I guess. He'd probably be the next one off the board. I'm assuming you'd rather go Miles Sanders.
Yeah, if you really wanted an RB right here, I would go Miles Sanders over Montgomery, but those would be the next 2 off the board, you know?
Agreed.
But I do like some of the wide receiver talent that's still available. I'd probably roll the dice and say, hey, I'm going to get Montgomery or Sanders on the way back. But the other team does not have a running back yet, so we'll see.
That's true. And they should go Miles Sanders here. Oops. Let's see who they go. Josh Jacobs. I mean, he does have a higher ADP technically than Miles Sanders, so that makes sense for the computer. But I like Miles Sanders more. I think Miles Sanders could be a sneaky dark horse to finish inside the top 10 this upcoming season because last year when he played with Jalen Hurts, this team went to him more often than when they had Carson Wentz. But this is a brand new coaching staff, so we'll see how this team wants to approach the running back situation. That's kind of why I'm not totally in on Miles Sanders yet. I want to see what it looks like this preseason and everything, what the word is from these beat reporters, how they're using him. But I do think that there is sneaky top 10 upside with Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this Jacobs pick. I like Josh Jacobs' talent and I like his story, but I don't like that Kenyon Drake has been brought in. Jacobs has never really been a super efficient runner, but for fantasy purposes, he's always gotten the volume so he could get you there. Now with a subpar O-line, the O-line's still decent, but they lost some pieces on the O-line this offseason, and you bring in Kenyon Drake, I would definitely go Miles Sanders over Josh Jacobs, even though Jacobs would be maybe the next, or maybe I might have one or two running backs over Jacobs here, other than Miles Sanders. Maybe Gaskin, maybe like Mike Davis, possibly. But I'm not that big on Josh Jacobs this year, so I'm not a big fan of that pick.
I agree. And we'll see who he gets on. Hopefully, he gets Miles Sanders here and with his 4th pick. But so real quick, let's go ahead and tell everybody that other than our team personally, who's the best looking team out there. So I'll go ahead and start. I'll say that currently, as it sits, the team that I'm liking the most, honestly, is team number 8. Yeah, team number 8. I do like Joe Mixon. For me, he's a top 12 guy. I love Nick Chubb, so I think that's really good. That's a really good 1-2 punch. And then you get Michael Thomas in the 3rd round. I think that's the best pick of the draft. Michael Thomas in the 3rd round, late in the 3rd round. For me, he's wide receiver number 6. So I absolutely love that pick. Currently, he's my favorite team. And then the worst team, honestly, every team has done a pretty solid job. I would probably go with team number 12, though, as the worst team, just because they got that Josh Jacobs pick. If they went Miles Sanders there, I don't really know who would be my least favorite team. Because honestly, this has been a pretty solid mock draft. I mean, I'd probably go team number 2 because they went Patrick Mahomes. But damn, that is really good running backs for the first 2 rounds. So, what about you?
Yeah, I'd have to say team 12 is definitely my least favorite. I think team 1 looks pretty good. Yeah, George Kittle going higher than I would want to take him, but I know that George Kittle can be a stud. I really like the McCaffrey CEH combo. If they can snag a good wide receiver here on the way back, if they were somehow to land like, I don't know, like a Robert Woods and Thielen on the way back, that'd be a really, really solid team. And that's me looking forward. But if I were to look at it face value right now, who they have on the roster, I would probably go team 8. Team 8 looks the best. I think they're looking like they're in the best position right now. I don't know. It's really tough for me in this one. Like you said, all these teams did pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think really just Patrick Mahomes, Josh Jacobs are the 2 worst picks of the draft personally. But other than that, everybody did a pretty good pick. I mean, I forgot team number 5 with that Stephon Diggs pick. That was really, really good pick as well. But yeah, everybody did a pretty solid job. Good job, computers. Good job. So, anything else before we go ahead and sign off? And once again, we'll be doing rounds 4 through 6 in the coming videos. So make sure you check that out. But anything else before we head off?
I just want to point out that only 1 quarterback was taken in the first 3 rounds this time.
Yes,
very happy to see that.
Very good job. Good job, computer. No Josh Allen here, so good. So that does it. Giggs, you want to go ahead and say see ya?
All right, guys, you take it easy, and we'll see you for rounds 4 through 6.
Thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure if you enjoy this content, to please hit the like and subscribe button. Really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Good luck in your drafts, people. Good luck.